Welcome back, my rogues. Today's question is, if humans live to be 500 years old, what hobbies would you get around to getting good at? Hope you enjoy, and check me out on Instagram. Gardening would be very fun. It wouldn't be intimidating to start growing trees. I'm already good at nothing but 500 years and I can perfect it. All I hear is someone saying, John passed at the age of 110, and someone replying, he was so young. I don't know, to be honest, but dating would be really weird. Met this gal last weekend. She's 412 years old. Oh dude, that's just wrong. You're only 112. How can you be with a chick that's 300 years older than you? This might be one of the few serious answers, but cooking. Even if some don't consider it a hobby, I would learn recipes from all around the world, so when someone is in the mood for something I can make the best possible version of that thing. Bonsai. We would act like 20-year-olds until we were 450 and then shove every last bit of life in the last little bit, so not much different IMO. Learning languages and just expanding general knowledge. We'd get really good at practicing safe sex for the sole sake of avoiding reproduction. As a matter of fact, there'd probably be a global restriction put in place only allowing people to reproduce once a century. Do we physically age the same, or is it spread out over time? If the past 2 months have taught me anything, nothing. Not much would change, probably. If a 500-year lifespan was normal for humans like a 70-ish year lifespan is normal for us, then our lives would just be spread out longer. In a world like that, school would last for like 30 years, you work for centuries, etc. By 100 virtuoso guitar, by 200 piano maestro, by 300 drums, baby, by 400 ace of base, by 500 harmonica blues master. Edit. Some futurists believe that the first person to live to the age of 150 is already alive right now, and the first person who will live to be 1000 years old will be born by 2040. Interesting side note. Now let the redditing continue. IDK, but my Minecraft base finna be lit. Lately I've been working on memorizing every country's name and location on the globe. If I had 500 years, I could try to memorize every city, any and every trade-based job, so therefore I don't have to spend a shit ton of money in order to maintain my home, vehicle, and just be able to rely on my own knowledge on being able to fix things. To be honest, be ultimate handyman. Question: does this affect our reproduction? If so, how? And if not, then overpopulation would be rampant, thus driving our push for interstellar travel and colonization of habitable planets. If the latter, I'd put forth an effort to study geology, engineering, physics and medicine. I'd be an explorer. I'd search whole planets and build a life for those looking to leave an overpopulated Earth. If the former, I'd invest my life in childcare and education so that I could help raise my kids, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, as well as to teach them so that they themselves can be a positive influence on the world and the people who they meet. Learn every language, like, even those endangered languages with 2 native speakers. God, I spend way too much time thinking about this topic. Cooking, music, architecture, medicine, teaching, writing, but most of all, conversing. Connecting with people through conversation is one of the most meaningful things a person can do, and I want to get better at it. There's not nearly enough time to cram all of this into a lifetime. Folding a fitted sheet. Maybe opening and running a vineyard. If I have 500 years, I'm sure I could make that happen before I go, and the only thing I know about it is that wine is good. Parkour would be a hell of a lot of fun to get exceedingly good at, pushing my physical body to the limits of what's possible with extreme precision. I'd perfect the ones I do. Photography and filmmaking. Chess. It's a very intellectual game, and it would be nice to keep my mind sharp after all that time. Cooking. There's no point in being 500 and not knowing how to make a good meal. Tortoising. Having a tortoise as a pet and outlive it. Learn guitar so I can be the guitar guy at the party. Think I might drink a Coke and Bacardi. I'd be able to shoot my age in golf. Drawing. I find it so frustrating that I was never taught the fundamental basics of rendering 3D shapes on a 2D surface, the nitty-gritty of anatomy, rendering light and shadow correctly, and just overall becoming a badass artist. It's hard not to be bitter considering I found myself graduated from college woefully underskilled for the art jobs I Wanted. I find myself 5 years out of college a lot better at art than I had been when I graduated college. But not good enough to get into the industry. Yet. I hope I get good enough to get a job soon. Flipping playing cards into a hat. I wouldn't necessarily change what I'm doing, but I do put a lot more time into mastering everything I can. Carpentry, electrical engineering, programming, electrician, mobile electronics, plumbing, etc. So I do have a much greater understand of electrical engineering. I do put more work into carpentry and probably spend time working on construction to gain experience. I get free college through work, so I do probably obtain multiple master's degrees. Bachelor's of Science in IT, Masters of Business Administration, Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering, Masters of Electrical Engineering X200B. I do take all my knowledge, skills, talents, and dump them into trying to invent new things. A better AC heating system, probably running on some kind of evaporative cooling process with liquid desiccates. I do work on better uses for solar and better ways to store solar power basically. I do spend a lot more time tinkering in the garage and experimenting with things. Hopefully coming up with solutions to major technological problems. My house would be paid off when I'm still a teen, aging wise, so I do eventually have a lot of freedom to spend a lot of time on these kinds of problems. Probably my taxes. I actually have thought about this and actively tell people that I wish I was a vampire. I fantasized about living for 300,400 years and have a whole life plan backlogged in my brain. First I would go to med school and be a doctor for 100 or 150 years. Then, I would live off my doctor money and go back to college for 100 years or so and just do everything. History degrees, chemistry PhDs, the works. I would gain a bank of knowledge so vast and wide that I am able to do whatever I want. Then I would get into politics, rise up the ladder until I either become the US president or die before that. Then, I can implement my knowledge and make extreme changes to the government and make it a much more effective system that doesn't rely on partisanship. I may have to become a dictator in order for any of that to be possible. But it's just a means to an end. I would also acquire much more land and turn America into a country with large territories all across the globe just cause. Then as I near the end of my life, I would hire the world's smartest scientists and work with him to create an AI that can run the government in my stead, because you bet your ass I'm not giving that job to a person. Once my life ends and the AI takes over, it will systemically and subsequently bring down every other government until the entire globe is nothing but red, white, and blue. From there, no one will be oppressed by malicious dictators. No one will starve to death, and corrupt governments will not be able to unjustly steal from their people. And under a perfect AI with complete efficiency and no corrupt or malicious intent, every system of government would theoretically work just fine. So in order to satisfy everybody, different parts of the world will operate under different systems and people can move to whatever place they want depending on which economical system they prefer. Zones both with and without gay marriage will exist, in order to satisfy all religious and moral belief systems so they don't try to overthrow the government. I hope you liked it, but be honest, wouldn't you prefer to live in a society where you could choose between capitalism and socialism? Would you support me in my goal to take over the entire world? Programming, blacksmithing, woodworking. I would try and perfect a new language every year. Dumbledore spoke 150 languages, so I'm sure I could make it to 10. Modding games, because why not? Training my memory palace. Imagine what life would be like. So cool, right? Like to see all of these people having all of these skills and talents developed over all those years. I would probably try to master cooking in multiple languages. Anything that didn't involve breaking my hip at 75. The next 400 years would be pretty weak. I wish this was tagged Serious X200B. Haha, nothing, I'm so lazy. Haha. Woodworking and maybe the violin. I currently do woodworking projects as a hobby, and in 500 years I can only imagine the advances in the tools we use. I like to think I would be a grandmaster at it, creating art that is admired. I don't currently play the violin, but it's on my goals list. Sleeping. Decades of experience so far, and I still suck at getting to sleep, staying asleep, and waking up rested. Scrolling Reddit and doing nothing. Drawing and calligraphy. Laze around. I would actually put effort into learning piano, and maybe bagpipes. Play D&D. If lockdown is any indication, none. A few more years and I may understand my ex-wife.
Hope you liked this video. Stay frosty, my rebels.